What is up, Comedy Calendar fans, and welcome into this very special edition of the Comedy Calendar. We got for you guys right now an edition of SoFlo Comedy Insiders. Guys, across from me at the table right now isn't my co-host Art Roach as usual. He's off today, and I have the absolute honor and privilege to be interviewing a very good friend of mine, the man who took me on the road for the first time ever in my comedy career, and a man who just got back with a nice little tan on him. I want everybody in the community newspaper and Comedy Calendar fam to put your hands together for the very funny, hilarious Rodney Badger.
I don't know if I'm supposed to clap, but there's not many people here.
Yeah. That's always the thing.
Let me clap for myself. I'm amazing.
I was gonna say the studio audience is usually subdued. They don't usually clap, so I got to get them to clap. Yeah. I got to bring them in. But man, Rodney, it is so nice not only being able to speak to you, but having you back in town. This is kind of your official coming out party. You're back in South Florida. You're going to be performing, and for all the bookers out there, you guys now have somebody that can literally do every spot on the lineup back in town. Somebody who can headline, do 90 minutes, feature, and do a solid 20 to 30, or he can even host the hell out of a freaking show. So, Rodney, how does it feel being back in town?
Man, I'm just excited to be here. I wanted to come on here with you and Art. So I'm sorry Art's not here, but I was excited, bro. Like, I was like, let me wait, call you, make this announcement. So I really haven't told, I haven't even told my dad yet I'm back in the States.
Damn.
Think about it. So there's maybe a handful of people who know I'm here.
Shout out to Papa Badger, man.
Yeah, man, he's a cool dude.
Yeah,
you know? He doesn't like my comedy, but he cool.
Hey, but he does laugh at your jokes. I will say that. You do make him laugh. And one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is kind of what you just mentioned, your comedy career, your starts, your roots. You've been doing this for a really long time. You're one of the most dedicated guys that I know since I've started that is not only committed to performing, but also producing amazing shows. What got you into comedy? Why did you want to like go down this path and start this road?
Whew. Give me a second here.
Yeah. Get some energy in.
So my older sister was doing comedy in Detroit, and she was with Second City in Detroit. So if you guys don't know what Second City is, but Second City is like the Groundlings. It's like a comedy, I don't know what you call it. It's like comedy class. They had classes, schools, but they also did like improv plus stand up, and you work your way up, and a lot of famous people from SNL, things like that come from there. So she was doing comedy, and she came down to Florida to network. She wanted to do some open mics, try to network, get bookings. And so I ended up being her chauffeur, and I'm driving her around. And every time we go somewhere, she's like, Rodney, you should do this. You're funnier than me. I think you're naturally funnier than me. Like, I think you should do it. And I'm like, I'm a kid from Ohio. I didn't even think about comedy in Ohio. Like, there, nothing when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So there's my sister's like dragging me around, and we go to a show, and this was a show. It was in, God, where was that? In Port St. Lucie or something. It was I only remember the host name, Mirko. Okay. He was running it. I don't know. He wasn't very funny.
Haven't heard of him since.
No, I don't know if he's still in the game, but he was not good. And but anyway, so my sister's doing that show. She signs up on the list, and I remember a few people like Will Watkins was there. So if you know Will, and he's in New York, and if you remember, Kevin Perry was there. So I just want to mention those two specifically, because you may know them, people may out there not. I don't think either one of them's doing comedy anymore. But I go up, and what happens is I'm sitting there, and they just call my name, Rodney Badger. My sister put me on the list.
Okay. Wow, so unprepared. You go up.
So think about all the unwritten rules I know nothing about. I don't know what the time is. I don't know what the light means. I don't know, about moving the mic stand, or, what you bring on stage, you take off stage. Like, I knew no rules. I knew no punchlines. I knew nothing. Right. And I wasn't gonna go up. My sister's like, just go. So I went up, I grabbed the mic, and I just started talking. It was horrible. Like, I'm just telling stories that I would tell at parties that people laugh, but it doesn't translate.
Right.
Right. So it's something new comics need to learn. Like, what you say around your friends, there's too much backstory to it that you don't have time. You really got to cultivate the joke.
Right.
So I'm just up there talking, and I'm all moving the stage. I'm talking to people in the crowd. I'm just one of the jokes is about having sex on my grandmother's couch with plastic on it or something. Like, it was just crazy stories.
It was just flow of consciousnness.
But nobody paying attention. Like, I lost the whole crowd, and then people start heckling me. I didn't know it was the comics heckling me. Which you're not supposed to do, but and then I keep seeing a light going off, and I'm figuring people are taking my picture. I'm famous, like I'm killing it. Like, I had this delusion, like I must be killing it. Like, someone's taking a ton of pictures. That's the light to get off, and the guy's doing it forever. And then finally I see Mirko, come up to the side of the stage, and he's hitting me with the flashlight. But again, I'm still not really paying attention. I just talk. And then he starts walking on the stage, and then I just said, well, that's all I got. And Kevin Perry's like, that's all? Finally? Get the fuck off, you know? Oh, am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you're good.
So then I get off stage, and my sister's like, now you're going to get it. Go outside and take your lumps. I'm like, what do you mean? And she takes me outside. She's like, I'm going to try to take as many as I can. I go outside, and Kevin Perry was not one to play with. Have you ever met Kevin?
No, I haven't.
So Kevin was a comic that was here. He did like 15 years in jail for robbing a Walmart or something. I don't know if I should say this on here, but, I don't know, but he was a tough guy. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So this guy gets right in my face, starts yelling, who the hell you think you are? I did 20 minutes, bro.
No way.
20 minutes. And it was insane. A scheduled spot. So now everyone after me, instead of getting like 7 minutes, had to do 3.
Right.
And so they all hated me.
Of course.
Right? So I had to go to the car and cry and go home in the fetal position and realize how horrible I was. And I never wanted to do comedy again. So I stopped. Like 3 months, I didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out about Funky Buddha. Now, Funky Buddha was right across from where I worked at the time. And they had an open mic on Wednesday, very popular. Richie Lala, Richie Lease, or what he goes by now, his real name, but I always knew him as Richie Lala. So he's running that, and I would just go hang out in the back with a notebook, and I never talked to the comics, just sat there all night, go home, sit there all night, go home, sit there. And one day he just comes over, talks to me, we start talking, whatever. He's like, you do comedy? He's like, no, my sister does it. I'm just really interested in it, but I don't really want to do it. And he does the same thing, calls me up. But at least I had some jokes this time.
And you'd been watching it. You've been kind of seeing what other people are doing. I'm assuming at that point you also like getting okay, this is what the light means.
No, my sister, this is, after screwing up, my sister gave me all the rules.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, so I just, went up there, and it was still horrible. But after that, I was like, man, this is where I belong. Long story short.
Nice.
Very long story. Edit the hell out of that.
No, you're good. You're good. This whole episode goes up live the way that it is. But that's super interesting. And what year is that?
2007.
2007. So then at what point are you kind of transitioning from, oh yeah, this is fun, there's a spot across the street from where I work, it's like convenient, I'm only going on Wednesdays. Where does that transition happen where you go from that to like, no, this is what I want to do full time?
Well, it was horrible for 7 years. I was trying to be a different comic. Mm-hmm. I was trying to be a one-liner. I liked Rodney Dangerfield. My favorite comic's Richard Pryor. I really wanted to be like Richard Pryor, but I didn't think I had that in me as a storyteller. And everyone told me, I got bad advice starting. Mm-hmm. Like, you got to get funny fast. Like, you need to get to the funny quick. And that's true, but you have to find your voice. And so I was looking for the wrong voice.
Gotcha.
Here I am trying to do one-liners. That's not me. And I did it for 5 years. Mm-hmm. And I still had fun, but I was bad, dude. Like, booed off stage, bad, like horrible. Because I was trying to be someone I wasn't. Mm-hmm. And so then I go from that to, I remember like my first book show was at a place called Hot Shots in Fort Lauderdale somewhere, I think, near Miami, Fort Lauderdale. And that was a rough show, like really, really bad. Every time a comic went up, they were playing a Miami football game at the sports bar.
Oh, yeah, so no attention.
And they cut it off, and it was all these ex-Miami football players there who wanted the game on. So every time a comic came up, it just became them cussing each other out, right? So it was like first the host goes up, and he's like, hey, he's trying to do his jokes, and they're like, put the game back on. You suck. You're not funny. Get the fuck out of here. And the owner comes on and says, no, this is what it is. We have another room on their side. You move over there. I'll buy you a drink or an appetizer, but move to the other room. They're like, we're not moving anywhere. And this was like Coliseum. Like, you were down on the ground, and then there was like seats, like going up. So you're supposed to be high in comedy, right? Like, so you have command of the room. No, the crowd had command.
Yeah.
And so like 3 comics go up, and it's just screw you, F you, I hate you, you're not funny, like back and forth. That's obviously an urban crowd. And there was a couple white comics. So then they put up a little black comic, and same thing. Like everything's going on. And there's like supposed to be an open mic after, but it was like 10 book comics. Somehow I got booked. I don't even know how. And I was supposed to be towards the end, like 8th or 9th. And all of a sudden the guy calls my name 4th. And so you go up, you shake hands and go, what happened? He's like, dude, people are backing out. Like, you're up.
Yeah.
And I'm new, bro. I'm up there shaking. And all my jokes are about my black wife, black family, And here I am looking at all these people. And I would say a joke and just ready for them to scream at me. But you could hear a pin drop. You know how that is. That's almost worse than talking or someone on the phone. Like, no heckling. They didn't heckle me. And then I did another. And every time I paused, I was just ready for the F you. Like I was just going to go back and forth with them like every other comic. Never happened, dude. I didn't get a laugh, but I didn't get heckled. So I had no idea what's going on.
Yeah, you went completely neutral bomb.
Yeah, and the host like, keep going. I only had 7 minutes. And he's like, keep going. So I tell another story, and I'm like, okay, I get off. And when I get off, he comes back up. They do it again. F you, F you. They didn't do it my whole time. Some dude, 6'8", 6'9", ex-offensive lineman from Miami Hurricanes, walks right up to me, grabs me basically by the back of my shirt and takes me to the bar, sits me down next to him. And he's the first person ever to buy me a beer. He's like, I'm going to buy you a drink. I said, wow, really? He's like, I was that good? He's like, no, but you got balls, kid. He's like, just say what you said up there. And like, you got balls. Like, I'm protecting you. I got your back. But then no one gave me a problem the whole night,
right.
You know? So that was like a step like saying, okay, maybe I can do this, you know? And then I went to the old Fort Lauderdale Comedy Club, and there was a contest or something, and everybody was bombing. And that's when I made the switch. And I really said, I'm going to tell some real life stories. And I did it. And not that I killed it, but I was the best comic on that show.
Right.
And there was good comics. I mean, Matt Bellick was on that show. Kevin Perry was on that show. You know, and I probably had one of the best, if not the best, reception. So here I am thinking, maybe I can do this. You know, but that was 7 years in. 6, 7 years in.
Damn. Wow.
Think about it. So like I look at all these comics, they're 1 year in and they're like, man, I want to be a headliner. I'm like, now I know my path was longer, but
no, there's still, you have to earn your stripes before you can get to certain levels. You know, there's, I think there's the saying of like, you need 1,000 reps of something, or you need 10,000 reps of something before you can like consider yourself good at it, or really get the idea of what it is. And I think comedy is one of those art forms that, you know, the lack of opportunities and the lack of ability to actually get on stage and do the thing makes it so that each opportunity is so important, you know, because I always say it's the one art form you can't practice by yourself. You know, you can't just like sit in your mirror and read your jokes and think that that's going to be the same as when you're on stage in front of a crowd. Every single crowd is different. Every single opportunity is different. And I know for you, you've done an incredible job, at least in the latter half of your career now, in making sure that whatever shows you're on always have people at them, always have comedy fans, are always jam-packed no matter what venue you're at. I want to talk a little bit about that, because I think a lot of people who produce down here in South Florida get, if you're a producer as a comic, you get a misconception of what it takes to actually bring people out and how hard that is. But then on the other side, as a venue, I think they also don't see the value in what you bring in terms of like, look, we have this budget, we can promise this many people, and that's going to equate to sales in your space. And I know there's a lot of comics out here that struggle with that. So what has been your strategy in terms of making sure that that is always the case at any of your shows, that there's a lot of people and it's a good vibe and it's a good show?
Yeah, I think it's like a two-part thing, right? So I think a lot of people, like, you want to be a comic, you want to be a producer, but that means you have to wear the two hats, right? Producers piss people off. Producers make people upset, right? You want to put on the best show possible. You can't always just book your friends. You want to, because you want to help your friends, right? And hopefully your friends are funny. And even if they're still working out, you can put them up earlier in the set, but you can't book all your friends on every show. Yeah. Right? You need variety. You need, unless you're traveling, right? But if you're in the same city, and that's usually where you start out, same cities, same couple cities, you need variety. And you got to be a producer. And producers can be, you know, you got to set the tone, like be on time or you're not going up. You know, you got to set whatever rules or whatever makes you, the thing is, comics don't realize, as a producer and a producer comic, it drives me nuts when people are late. Right? Because I got so many things where I'm worried about ticket sales. I'm worried about people showing up. I'm worried about keeping the venue happy. I'm worried about starting the show on time. I'm worried about, you know, the order. Did I pick the right order? I'm worried about, you know, my set if I'm performing too. So now you're adding a whole nother thing of pressure. Like, I got to do my set. I got to do my thing, right? So you're going to come late, or you're not going to be there when I need you. You know, that's just an extra stress I don't need. Right? And a lot of people, especially in South Florida, I'll be there when I be. Like, and I'm not a jerk about it. I just want you there 5 or 10 minutes before showtime starts, right? I'm not asking you to come half hour to come. You know, I used to do that, but now I'm at the point where it's like, okay, if you're not here like 10, 15 minutes before, when I go to turn in the set, you know, the order and this and that, I'm gonna scratch you. Yeah. I'll give you an example. I was in Arizona. I don't know the comic. I had a host set up. The guy hates me now. But I went out there and I'm doing a show. This was part of my Filthy Animals. I'm at the Tempe Improv, right? And it's a Sunday, and we had about 200 people there, you know, so it was a good show for a Sunday night. And I'm waiting on the host to show up the whole time, waiting for the host to show up, right? Keep asking, keep looking. I don't know this guy. He was just referred to me by another comic that was on the show. I always want to book some locals. Yeah. You know, it's always good, you know, to include them. So I included 2 locals. One was there. The other guy didn't show up. And we're 5 minutes from start time, and I got to turn in the order. He was supposed to be the host. So then I had to ask someone else to host who's never hosted before. Right. And then I got to tell the other comics, you got to do 5 more minutes. The show's about to start. The club's giving me pressure. Now they wouldn't start late. I've never been there before.
Right. It's
they
not like
start
Miami.
on time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, once you build a relationship and they see what you do that, you know, but they're always worried new comics, you know, new shows are going to run long. It's going to upset the staff. So they don't know me. Yeah. So they're like, no, we're starting on time. And I'm not used to that. So I was like, oh, you know, I can't push back 15 minutes. No, the guy's not there. We can't get a hold of him. Okay. 5-10 minutes for the show. I go up. You're hosting, you know, I need you to do 15 instead of 10, you know, and I know you only have 10 because she was a new comic, but I said, never did it before, but I'll give you some pointers right before we start. You know, you're going to do an extra 10. I'm going to take up the extra 20, you know, and we got to go. Yeah. You know, so I turn in the list. As soon as I turn in the list and they start the little video, lights go out, the guy comes in. Sorry, you know, traffic, blah, blah, blah. I said, no, we've been hitting you up. You keep saying traffic, dude. Like I told the other guy who knew him on the show, I said, hey, tell him to turn around. You know, tell him to go home because we got to start. And the guy wanted to fight with me, and he's like, come on, man, put me on the show. No, I can't, bro. Like now I got to think about my set. I got other things to worry about.
Yeah.
Now.
We moved on from that.
Yeah, man. So think about that when you're producing, is that I didn't want to do it to the guy. I held out as long as I could. The club and the guy, you know, I tried to send him a nice message. You know, I tried to, you know, say, hey, you know, I hope you learned something, whatever, you know, and he's trashed my name out there. But luckily the other comic out there liked me, and, you know, it is what it is. Yeah. So you got to think about that. So that's one side of the coin. The other side is the marketing side, right? Like, how do you market? How do you reach your people? And that's the hard part. And that's what I do. So it all comes down to how you get your emails, how you build your emails, right? Like really save and build email lists. I can't tell you how important that is. The more emails you get, the more value you have, right? Like the texting thing kind of works, but it's super expensive. So if you're not making a lot of money, I would stay away from that until you could build up. But texting does work, like day of show or day before, texting works. Not a week out, nothing, you know, less than 24 hours for the show and maybe like 6 hours for the show. They can help. But build your email list. And when you run ads, don't forget about Facebook. Facebook sells tickets. Facebook gets tickets. If you give away free tickets, you're doing anything. Facebook is valuable. People think it's not, but who has money? Older people. Who's on
Facebook?
Older people.
Right.
The other thing is Instagram is instant gratification. TikTok is instant gratification. When you go to Facebook, you know you're going to read somebody's monologue. Like you have time. You're sitting on a toilet. You're sitting at your desk. You have time to kill. So you'll read longer things. You'll be a little more patient. So don't forget Facebook. People forget Facebook is also dying for reels. If you put a reel, I get 10 times the hits on Facebook than anywhere else. Got you. So, and those people have money. Right? Like I like the younger audience. I like those people, but they don't always have the money for a $20 ticket plus, you know, $40, $50 a person at a club sometimes. Yeah. Right. So don't forget Facebook. So, and then targeting, when you set up your ads, there's targeting. So how you target. I mean, I can't give away my secrets, but just really think about who you're trying to attract, but make sure whatever you're targeting matches the show. If I'm doing an urban show, I'm not going to target white people. Yeah. Right. I'm not going to leave them out, but I'm not necessarily going to go after them. If I'm doing a Latin show, right? I can't go after, you know, I have to go after Latin people. If I'm going after everyone, great, I can go after everyone. But think about who's on the show, their age, their type of jokes, and my targeting is different for every show. Yeah. I have, you know, have you ever done ads on Facebook, right? Yeah. So on the old way, and I still use the old way, you can build your own targeting. Yeah. Right? So I have about, just for Miami, probably 50 different targets. Not 50. Yeah. And I watch my ad every day. I watch my clicks every day. I change it. If I have to switch it from one targeting to another or add different, subtract something, age, you know, don't go after 21-year-old kids. Right. if they see it, they may come. But who's going to buy? 25 and up. They're out of college. They have a career. They have the time. They want to do something new. Those are the people.
Yeah.
And if, be careful. You target too older people, they're not
going to want to come out. Yeah.
No, but they do come out, especially when you do free tickets. A lot of older people will come. But if you really target them, I learned like in Naples and some of these other places, old people sit up front.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to eat their food before the show even starts. And they may not laugh as much because they're just trying to listen. And it took me a while to figure that out too. Like they may not laugh as loud or as much because they're trying to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And if you make fun of that, they're not going to come again.
Right.
So it's so layered. But you start small, start one city, take over that city. You guys are doing a good job. You're in Miami, Broward, but I know you and Art and everybody, you build that city,
mm-hmm.
become that big fish in a small pond kind of thing, and then you start to branch out. And that's what I did very slowly, and it works.
Yeah. And so that was one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is your travel and the places that you have performed comedy. I know you were recently, like you said, on a tour with a show that you were producing. How many stops did you guys do on that tour?
40 stops.
Yeah.
And 40 shows in 60 days.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane. And so
shout out to Dick Dickerson. He rode with me on every single show. I know, and he's really, really funny. The other one is Mimi. She's got a future in this, and I can't remember his name, man, but it'll come to me. But he was great too, and those guys were great. But yeah, it was an urban type show tour, but we booked, Dallas, I think it was Austin, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, I want to say Orlando, I'm not sure. And then Saginaw, Michigan, Columbus, Dayton, Springfield. I can't remember the other ones on that particular tour.
40 stops is insane. That's, for most comics, having to be a part of a tour like that at any point in their career would be a highlight. And I can only imagine for you, you were headlining a lot of those shows, right?
Most of them. Dick did a few, like with Saginaw's his hometown. I wanted him to headline that. He didn't want to. And it was a homegrown crowd for him. You know how hard it was to follow that dude?
Oh my God. I can only imagine.
Because, there was 150 people. They were expecting 75. We sold 75 tickets. We had 150 people. Probably 100 of those 150 knew Dick. And he didn't want to headline because last time he was in Saginaw, he didn't do well in front of his friends. So he's like, I don't want to headline. And he went up there and murdered it. Straight murdered it. Standing ovation, and I got to follow a standing ovation, and they're all his friends. So they're all talking about how great he did, and they all want to talk to him as soon as he's done. It was very interesting, but I was so happy for him. And I didn't care if I bombed because, like I said, last time he was so stressed about that show. So I was happy for him. I had an okay show. I didn't bomb or anything, but it was nowhere near where I wanted to be. But I was so happy for him that it didn't matter because that was his show.
Of course. Of course.
Like Columbus was mine. That was his,
So speaking of Columbus, the first time that I ever traveled out of town was alongside you. We drove up 18 hours, you, me, and Lucas Jason. We got in a car. We met Mark Christopher up in Ohio, and we did 3 shows out there in Ohio that were some of my, at that time, they were my favorite shows that I'd ever done. And even to this day, it's so... The unique experience of being able to perform in those venues that you curated out there was incredible.
Which I know we did White Horse. I know we did Flamingo in Cincinnati. Yep. What was the third? We did
a smaller bar by where you grew up. It was that was like a little dive bar, almost like an open mic show. Yeah, that was Jack's Corner Pub. Yeah. But incredible shows, going out there and showing up in a place that
and 2 of them sold out.
That's what I was gonna say. Being completely separate from our own environment, our market, and going into some sold out shows that were incredible. I remember that White Horse show was absolutely phenomenal. Not only was the crowd completely packed, there was like 200 people in there, but just the stage, the energy, the comics that we had booked on that show. I loved it.
That place seats 120. There's 160 inside and like 30, 40 outside.
Yeah.
They couldn't even make it in, but stood outside, listened through the doors, basically. That was insane. And that was a wild show. The White Horse Saloon always Shout out to Roy Walls and April Walls who own that place, because it is insane every time I go there. Like, you don't know what you're gonna get.
It was a great time. I remember being out there and just after the show, the camaraderie and like it has a very like family vibe in that bar. Like you could tell that's the local watering hole that everybody goes to. Everyone knows each other. It's like Cheers, you know.
But I want to talk about something about you and your development. So took you on the road, first time on the road, and guys, like the first show didn't go as well as you wanted it.
Yeah,
remember
for sure.
We were in Cincinnati, I believe, and it didn't go the way you wanted. You did okay, but you got off a little.
But I didn't do well.
I missed this, and you were kind of.
No, I believe I did a joke involving like a movie that had like just come out. And you were like, so there's not a movie theater within 15 miles of this place. Like none of these people have seen a movie recently. They're not going to the movies. Like I had to completely change that.
But that's what I want to tell you is like when you go, you know, when you're not home, you don't think of those things. You know, you go on the road, you have to do your research, right? You have to know your who's going to be there. Yep. What's going to be there. Why do I sit outside every show? You ever see me? I always sit outside. You see me coming in and out of the green room. Why? I'm looking at the age. I'm looking at race. I'm looking at male, female. I'm looking at everything because I'm trying to curate my jokes to fit them. And if it's something like a movie, like I think I told you, it's like a movie they haven't seen, then you have to do a little more explaining, but there needs to be punchlines within the explaining. Yep. Right. And what I loved, Sebi, what I loved about you there was that first show didn't go the way you wanted. Right. And you could have, you know, bombed the next two. So we had luckily the Jack show, which was maybe 7-8 people. Yeah, but it was a small bar, but it was a small intimate bar, but like it felt cool because we had like, you know, the bartenders were listening, like everybody who was in the room was listening. So even if we had a few audience members, it felt intimate. Yeah, but you took that time. I remember that night we stayed up real late. We talked about your set. We walked through it. We talked all these things, and you made the necessary changes. And you didn't have the ego about it. Like I've been on the road or been on shows where people I say, hey, like, you know, like. We may not be the same comic, but I can give you some advice. Of course. I'm not going to tell you how to write jokes, but I can tell you something. I've been doing this a long time. Like, of course. You know, here, you know, this is what I think you need to do. Like, let's work on it. And you worked on it. You worked on it. You worked on it. And then bam, you did really well at the little Jack show. But I think that gave you the confidence that at the White Horse, which was the big show, the creme of the creme. I mean, that was it. You straight murdered that room, right? So you went from not bombing, but struggling to maybe what was like a week later, you're killing it because you made the necessary changes and we're open to that. And that's something like a lot of comics now, they're in their feelings. Like I see them, you know, patting each other on the back because they made one person laugh the whole show. It's like they don't want to fail. Right. And they're afraid to fail. And they think that if they admit they failed, they won't get booked or this. Man, Dave Chappelle says they won't get better. You know what I mean? They think like, oh, admitting failure means that like I'm incapable of this or I can't do this. But I always say, you learn more from the failure than you do from the success. 100%. Right? And you're not going to get there. So you have to fall down every once in a while to say, what did I learn from that one fall down? That'll never happen again. Right? And then you're going to do well, and then you're going to fall down again. Well, what made me fall? What was it? Did I not bring the energy? Was I off? Was I sick? Was I, you know, those are all excuses. But then it really comes out, the audience don't care. They don't care. So yeah, they're like sharks. You got to figure it out. And then, you know, every part of the country is a little bit different. I remember the first time I went to the DMV. I mean, that was crazy. I started to struggle the first 5-10 minutes. And then after that, you know, once I got, you know, my feet a little wet, boom, then it was like tat, 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 tat. But I had to figure it out. But, you know, I think had I taken it a little more serious where I went up, I would have figured it out sooner. And in an interesting transition, first of all, I appreciate you on that trip so much for taking the time and going through those things and actually showing me kind of you had already taken the licks at that point. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, I've done this before. I've been here before. Let me show you the lessons that I've already learned from those failures. And it 100% helped me. And it actually also helped me recently when I was in the Bahamas, your former stomping grounds, the place that you are returning from, performing at Tuga Comedy Club. Shout out to Tuga Comedy Club, to Gino and Ali who run that out there, and Tuga Supper Club, the restaurant that they have adjacent to it. A fantastic venue. If you're ever in the Bahamas and you're there for the weekend, check out Tuga Comedy Club and get some tickets for one of their shows because they are some of the most fun you can have experiencing the Bahamas there. But it is a Bahamian experience. Those crowds, they're not tourists. You're not at Bahamar. You're not at Atlantis. You're not getting the people coming in from America and from all these other countries. It is a straight up Bahamian crowd. And I remember going in there and having already experienced what happened in Ohio
I kind of knew. And also on top of that, you were out there, you had done the club already. You gave me a lot of good advice on, hey, this is what it's going to be like. This is how it runs. You told me it's a Bahamian crowd. So I knew what to expect going in. So I had material curated. Like I opened up my set there talking about flying in, and like, just like the experience, meeting the owners of the club, and kind of brought them in that way. And then I was able to get into my material, and they were with me, you know, at that point. But I had to kind of like spoon feed them. But it was such an interesting experience, and it was so incredible to be able to go out there and perform specifically for a Bahamian crowd and see what else I can do with my material and how I can tweak it and like twist it so that it's still my material, but it's for them. What was it like for you specifically? Because I know you spent, how long were you out there in the Bahamas? You were out there for a year. So in that year, I know you did a bunch of comedy. You performed at Too Good like 3 times. You produced
I did a couple other
shows.
local shows.
Yeah,
I weren't mine. I did a couple other shows. So
Got you. But I know that's got to be, I mean, even though you were performing around the country a lot, getting there and kind of acclimating yourself to what those crowds are and how they operate and what they laugh at. What was that like for you? And what did you learn from yourself as a comic in that time that you spent there?
So the first thing was like the first time I did a show there, the local comic who was on that show, he even struggled a little bit. And you know, he's very popular. He's on the radio there, very popular guy. He even struggled on the first show. Like we talked about Friday. No, that's Shad.
Shad, right?
No,
Shout out to Shad Fur, guys. By the way, Shad is hilarious. He's a really good guy and puts out some really dope content in the Bahamas. He doesn't just do comedy. He's like a jack of all trades kind of guy. So it's super cool.
Actor, singer. Yeah. I mean, the guy's everywhere.
He does everything.
He's like Mr. Nassau almost.
Yeah, you know? Super dope. Shout out to Shad.
I'm talking about Sawyer Boy. He's a radio host. He's you know, TikTok over there, kind of like the Nassau TikTok famous guy. Great dude, man. I loved him. But even he struggled a little bit on that first show. Everyone was struggling a little bit on the first show, including me. And what I noticed, what I told you, was like I didn't do any local references. I just did my stuff, and it did well. But again, especially when I think about all the comics, even the headliner, like, okay, I didn't do any worse than anyone else. But to me, it was a bomb. Yeah. Right. So I went outside. I told them, I said, I don't know about y'all, but I don't bomb back to back. You know, so all I did was pace and think how I could change this. And then I went to them, the local comics, said, hey, you know, if I say this or give me a word that means this or that or whatever, that I could just kind of throw in there. I
was gonna say I had to adjust. I think one of the things that I changed was in my set, I mentioned a butt, but I said bunda.
The bungi.
Bungi.
Yeah. They like the bungi. You know, that's
just
the butt.
The little things, man. That's so cool.
So that's it, you know, and you know, when I started saying like mudda sick, mudda freeze, mudda sick. And I thought those were cuss words. Yeah. So one time I said it like at a restaurant, there's like little kids sitting next to me. I'm like, mudda sick. And I looked at her, I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, ma'am. I didn't mean to say. She's like, what? And the kid was like, mudda freeze back to me. I'm like, to me, it means like motherfucker or something, right? No, to them it's like saying fudge or something. So like anyone can say it, but I didn't know.
Got you.
So I'm thinking I'm cussing.
It definitely sounds like a cuss word. It could pass.
I remember one time I bombed and I just said mudda sick. Like the joke didn't hit. I said mudda sick, and the place just blew up. Right, like white guy saying this is, you know, okay, you know, so it brought it right back, and then boom, boom, boom. So it's like little things like that. Again, it's getting to know them. So I try to watch other comics, but I was first up, and so I didn't really get to see anything, and I hadn't seen a comedy show there, so I didn't know what they wanted, you know. But once I figured out, bam, next show's bam, 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 you know. And the one thing I love about you can do whatever you want as long as it's funny. Yeah. They don't care. They don't care if you're clean, dirty. They don't care how dirty you get, but they don't like crowd work where you pick on them. Got you. Right? They're prideful people. So, you know, you have to ask them a question, then make it about you. You can't make it about them. The whole crowd will turn on you. That's the only one thing I learned there really quickly, is if you're not from there, you know, don't do it. Yeah. They can rag on each other. Yeah. They can so you ask them a question and you roast yourself, but you don't roast them so much. You know, you got to be very careful with that. Yeah. I think I did the little bit of crowd work that I did. I didn't make fun of them, but like we went into their job and like the way that they described their job didn't really make sense. So I went in on that. So it was like adjacent. Like you can't just go in on them and be like, oh, that's a dumb job. You're an idiot. You don't make any money. Well, like if you do something like that, I can definitely see them turning on you. But other than that, what was it like just living in the Bahamas, man? Like aside from comedy, like, I mean, from somebody who I know you lived in Florida for a long time, so you get the beaches, you get the vibe, you know, you get that Caribbean vibe down here a lot, but I'm assuming just completely indoctrinating yourself for an entire year in that space. What was it like? So I lived a little different than most expats, so that's what they call expatriates. They call it expat. You know, it's almost like a work permit person. So all the expat people mainly lived on the west side of the island. They say, one of the comics told me it's the west side whites. Like all the whites live on the west side in the same little area for expats. And I didn't do that because I got a housing allowance and I didn't want to spend money. I wanted to save money. So I'm looking around. And so I actually lived in a place called Millennium Gardens, Millennium Gardens, and I would say that on stage. And the first time I said I lived in Millennium Gardens, the whole crowd gasped like, like, how could you live in Millennium Gardens? Like, that's, so, and I lived in someone's efficiency on the back of a house. Like, that's as Bahamian as it gets. Like,
100%.
They build these extra little apartments on the back of the house to make some income because it's expensive, so I'm living in this place, and I would make a joke about how I walked in and I'd have to walk around the bed and try to open the refrigerator by moving a nightstand. Like, it was tiny, bro. Like, I could wash the dishes while laying in bed. Like, I could watch a movie and do my dishes, It's like, I said, if I have sex in this apartment, I'm basically having sex in every room at the same time, right? Like, I got 1 foot in the closet, I got one in the bathroom, I got one in the kitchen, like we're we don't have to move furniture. Yeah. I could already say, yeah, I've had sex in every room. I never did, but that's what I could do. So when I would say jokes like that, they would just lose their shit, man, because they're like, man, this guy lives in Millennium Gardens. And my neighbor, he was a weed smoker, and I said, oh, where can we get some marijuana? He's like, oh, and he's all high, and he's like, let me take you to my drug dealer, whatever. You can get in my car, and he's like, okay, make a right. There's the house on the right. Is literally
down the street.
No. Like, I look between that house and I go, that's my apartment right there, dude. We could just walk through the backyard over here. Like, why we get in the car? He's like, dude, I never thought about that. You know what I mean? I'm like, this must be some good weed. You know what I mean? This guy and he didn't have a car, so he walked around every time to get his
my God.
Like that, that's Millennium Gardens, man.
That's incredible.
Yeah. But I try to have more of a local experience. I want to see what they experience. I want to be more indoctrinated, more into the culture. So I didn't want to, I could have stayed on that west side, but I would have paid more money, and I would have been around other expats. I wanted to be around locals. And that was important to me. Very, very important. Even if I didn't do comedy, I just wanted to have a better understanding of where I was. And it was close to work, and didn't take long to get to the beach or down to the port or anywhere I needed to go. Everything was 10 or 15 minutes that I like to be. So, it was a great experience, man. Like, I would tell anybody, if you get a chance to live in another country, I lived in Bermuda for a few years, 2.5, 3 years. And I would tell, but especially I love island life, man.
I mean, who doesn't?
You got the beach there.
It's so good.
It's expensive though, bro.
Yeah,
expensive. So.
No, for sure. And I remember when we were out there, just like things from the general store are super expensive. Just like basic appliances, just because they don't get in shipments of things. I mean, so consistently. I
feel actually, but like the box fans.
Yeah,
$50, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Bro, box fan.
That's crazy.
Certain things we're just. I'm like, man, like, are you kidding me? Like, I can't get,
And it's crazy because you think of the Bahamas and you think of Nassau specifically, and Nassau is kind of like the center point of the Bahamas, because the Bahamas is multiple islands that are kind of all scattered adjacently toward each other. And in Nassau specifically, when I was there, one of the things that I took from it was it's definitely smaller than I thought. So I had always stayed in Atlantis and never really went off of the resort when I had gone there twice before. Staying on the opposite side of the island with Gino and Ali, and kind of driving around with them and them showing us, oh, look, like, this is the layout of the island. Like Atlantis is all the way down there. This is here. It's about 45-minute drive from end to end. And I was like, wow. I was like, yeah, no, you look both sides and it's small. It's not as big as you would expect. And it felt like the whole island, it was like everybody knew each other. Like, on the island of Nassau, it was like everybody kind of was, they knew each other, or they had some kind of affiliation.
Think about dating, bro. Family. Like, you don't know if you're dating a second cousin or something. Like, everybody knows each other and they have tons of kids. It's insane, bro. I'm like, how do you guys not, like, how do you know? Like, where's the cutoff?
I think Shad has a joke about that he found out that he's dating his grandmother's like, oh, well, that's your cousin, that's your second cousin from this uncle's nephews, whatever. And it's like, oh my God, man. But that's so true. Island living. That's tight community. There's not that much space.
I mean, Bahamas in general is big. 700 islands and keys. It's big. There's tons of places to go. and the population big. I mean, Nassau and Grand Bahama have the highest population. I mean, I think there's like 300,000 people living in Nassau. So, I mean, it's a decent size. And when I lived in Bermuda, 21 square miles, 86,000 people. That's locals and expats.
Jeez.
So it's like 65,000 locals, 20,000 expats, I believe. 85,000 people, you know. There, everybody knew everybody.
Yeah.
It's insane. And then you come here and it's like, yeah, you know, I mean, I know you, but I know someone who know, you know, it's that 6 degrees. It's probably a 3 degrees of separation somehow there. But it's small, but yet it's big enough I didn't get island fever.
Nice. Yeah.
In Bermuda, I was like, I was going to say, there's everybody knows you.
Well, and in the Bahamas, I think one of the things that I noticed as well is the nightlife there is alive. Like, they understand tourism. They understand that, you know, there's got to be things to do, places to go, and that's what drives their economy, is that tourism and people coming in, people coming to Atlantis, Baha Mar, all these things. And what my takeaway from that whole experience was also just like how hospitable they are. I loved the Bahamian hospitality when I was there. The servers that we had at Tuga were fantastic. The bartenders, they were fantastic. Everywhere that we went, people were extremely polite. It was really refreshing to go.
I went out with them one night after
you went to the club.
To a couple clubs, but it was. Went out till like 6 a.m. It's the only time I really went out late there. Okay. And I'm with the servers, everybody, you know, the security staff. Shout out to Miles. He really protected me. Duchess, Miles. I can't remember everyone's name, but I was pretty hammered. But we go out and we're driving all around, and it seems like it's taking forever. And we end up and we go to this bar, but it's basically it looks like a house, like someone's house, right? So they had like a gate outside, and there's security standing there. And I don't think they wanted to let me in originally. But then, you know, I was with them. So the security guards, and we go up there, and it's nice. But it was literally looked like still someone's house. Like, you know, there's a kitchen and they're serving the drinks from the kitchen. Basically, the bathroom was like someone's house, you know, but it's packed in there. You know, I was like, this is insane, right? But everyone's having a good time. And we went to another bar to meet up with Ali because they were there. They wanted to play pool, and they were literally, again, I did go in. And it was like someone's house. They just put a bar there, and like the bedrooms were like the VIP room. I don't know, like you could go in there and there's couches and red lights and really dark. I stayed away from that because I didn't know what was going on in those rooms. I sat out in the living room area, and then I'm going out there where they're playing pool, and you know, it's cheaper to buy bottles, so they have bought bottles of Tito's and stuff, and they're playing pool, but it's like they're playing pool on someone's deck, like outside, you know, like it was uneven. The balls were, you know, going all around. I was just like, what the hell is going on? And I didn't have my car, so I'm just like stuck with them, you know, and I didn't want to be like, I want to go home, but I did. I was tired. I wanted to go home, but I just stayed out, you know, go home. And then I'm like, man, and I told him, I said, man, maybe I've been drinking too much. I don't know if I should drive. And they're like, man, no one here's got a DUI since like 1993, bro. And I was like, really? Like, if you don't get in an accident, there ain't no DWI, you know?
Yeah, no right.
It's like, I think the joke is like they have one breathalyzer on the whole island. You know, like, you know, we're only going 30 miles an hour. Like, you're going to wreck, but no one's going to die.
Right.
So, like, just get home.
Yeah, just drive slow and stay safe.
I was like, come on, man, this is insane.
Hey, that's island living, though. That's the island living, man. And so now you're back in town. You're going to be doing a lot more gigs. Your availability is wide open. So
let's talk about September 3rd real quick. So Laughing Badger coming back.
Yes, sir.
September 3rd, Miami Improv. I think it's an 8 p.m. show. I think it'll be an 8 p.m. show, right? I think it's a Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't even know.
It's a Wednesday.
Wednesday. Just got the booking. And you and Art will be on the show.
Yes, we will have comedy calendar tickets available for that show, guys. So don't forget, if you want to go out to that show, you can reach out to us if you want to get RSVP to that show as well.
And I got a lot of new material. I got a lot of new stuff I'm working on. And Drew Illa is going to be on that show as well. So
nice.
I don't know who's hosting, who's doing what yet, but that's pretty much the lineup. Me, you, Art, and Drew.
Heck yeah.
I'm going to do probably about 40, 45 minutes. And you guys all get 10, 15, and we'll make it a blast, man. And you know, I always bring the people. So
I love it.
I don't care what night of the week. I don't care where I am. You know, this is going to be live and ready to go. So I'm excited about that. And then I see you wearing the Cafecito comedy, you know, and this is why I brought something. I don't know if this is the right time, but I wore the sunglasses today. These are my prescription sunglasses. So I kind of look dorky.
Transition lenses? No,
they're just
regular
my
prescription.
straight sunglasses because I watched the show that you had Justin on with you and Art, and all you guys had sunglasses on.
Yes.
Like you guys were all cool and shit, you know. So I was like, man, I want to be in the cool kid club, you know. So I'm wearing my sunglasses. And today you ain't wearing no damn sunglasses.
I have my glasses. Wait.
I brought some.
Oh, okay.
I bought these at 7-Eleven on my way here. And I thought it'd be funny. These are my regular glasses. I thought it would be funny to look at these and say, okay, these are different styles, right?
Yeah.
So like how people wear these. So like this style, I don't know if that's the camera, right? Like when people wear this style, why do they wear it like this? Always, every time. Like your eyes are more sensitive back there. Like why? Why do they always wear like this?
They avoid the sunburn on the back of the neck.
You're like so douchey, right? Like you have sunglasses on. Like I understand this because you want to see. Right? Like everyone understands
that's the Guy Fieri.
Yeah. And this is also like, you know, okay, I'm inside or, you know, it's cool, whatever. I have my shades, you know, I can look like, you know, a really crappy Terminator or something with these on, right? Like, why do you wear like this? What is this doing for you?
That does nothing. And I think it's more of just like you think that you
maybe
look
have
cool.
Oakleys or maybe these are $10.
You want to still show the brand.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Yeah. I don't know. So those.
We got these. These are like your classic aviators.
Yeah, these are like I failed pilot school or I got kicked out of the police academy.
Cruise fan.
Yeah. I'm Maverick, you know.
Yeah.
I feel the need for speed or something. Like I don't know where those came from, but you know, it's like
these don't look as good.
No, you can't wear those backwards
because you got little horns.
And you got them upside down too. You still got to turn it the other way. But so the only style you can wear like that is these, you know.
Yeah, the straight backs.
I don't know what these are, man. Like I almost played professional volleyball, beach volleyball. I almost got there. Like these are the almost police, almost pilot.
That's 100% police volleyball,
right?
And
then those are the, you know, I couldn't find the more classic ones, kind of like the ones Art was wearing last time, but those are kind of like, you know, I'm retro, I'm 80s, I'm cool. You know.
This is definitely very.
And I still looking at girls' butts, you know, because you can't see my eyes so well because these are, you know, or those are like the blue blockers or whatever they call them. Like, what is it when they call it? Like the ones that stop the sun,
the
UV,
the UV blocker.
Yeah, man, I got the UV to protect my eyes. I mean, you blind anyway.
I like it. These are blind guy glasses as well. Shout out Crecilio.
Yeah. I mean, you should give them a pair. But I bought these because I wanted to be in the cool kids with you guys. You know, feel free, take a pair. You know, look like a douche if you want. I mean, they're $10.99. 7-Eleven. Special shout out to 7-Eleven. I don't know if I got any points on this. Probably not.
You should.
That's why I wore the glasses.
Do you know where 7-Eleven is from? Like where the company is based out of?
No, where's it out of?
Japan. It's a
I
Japanese
heard that they had
company.
the nicest ones over there, though.
Well, that's where it's from. They're a Japanese company.
Really nice. Like people in the Asian countries, like they go there for sushi and they go there for all kinds of stuff, and it's like
they're trying to bring some of that over.
My normal.
There you go.
Making the switch back.
I was gonna say that's the Rodney Badger I remember.
I was trying to be cool with these. You know, like I was doing something because I was like, oh, they wore sunglasses last time. They were all cool. They're all on the cool kids table. They're all, you know. I was trying to be. I wanted to be like Justin, who's like wear my hat and be like, yeah, man, we're doing comedy. You know, making motherfuckers laugh. You know, that's what we do. Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah, I know Marlon Wayans.
Yeah, 20 years at the improv. You know, yeah.
But speaking of
Justin, shout out to my boy.
Yeah, shout out to Justin. But speaking of the improv, and again, your Laughing Badger show, that was a staple when you were here prior. You guys were always doing Laughing Badger shows there at the Miami Improv. I'm so happy to see them coming back so soon after you get back into town, which is awesome. I'm glad you just jumping right back on the horse.
I gotta make flyers. I gotta do advertising now.
There you go. But, hey, but that's the hard work that leads to the fun nights. Yeah, so yeah. I commend you again for those for that effort in
check out laughingbadger.com. That's my website. I gotta put the show. I haven't updated it for a while, so I gotta jump on there and do that when I get back home. But yeah, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna try to get back out to Arizona. I'm going back to Ohio in September. I'm booking shows in Ohio now. Okay. I gotta go see my dad. My dad's getting up there in age, and you know, I didn't get to see him this year, so I'm gonna go up there and visit some family. But I gotta make money too, so of course I'll probably be back at the Flamingo. I'm reaching out to them and O'Connor's. If you ever get to go back up there with me, there's a place called O'Connor's in Springfield, Ohio. It's a little podunk. Hey, I don't want to say that about the people there, but it's a little country town.
Nice.
And it's a little Irish pub, but they also have a back room. It has a stage. They have a band, comedy, but it's set up perfect. Tables, food, drinks. They set it up really nice. Shout out to Tina, owner out there. She's amazing. But I'm going to reach out to them. I have not yet, but I want to reach out to them. But they're a great, great place. I met them through Brian Swinehart, so I'll probably reach out to him as well when I'm up there. Dick and all those guys. Cockaroo Comedy. Shout out Cockaroo. He's interesting man. He's my buddy though.
Nice.
I really look forward to seeing him as well. P Dot, that was the other comic, P Dot from up there. When I was talking about, filthy animals. So P Dot really, he has that. You just see some people have it. Like he still needs. I know he's still growing, but he's got it, man. He's all those comics, and South Florida, man. I can't wait. I want to see. I've been gone a year basically. I've come back and done one show, but I really haven't, seen it. So I'm going to see tonight some open mics.
Nice.
I'm interested to see because, I do think this is a great comedy market. I think it's a great place to start. It's very accommodating. There's a lot of shows. There's a lot of veterans to help young comics. I think this is a great place to get your feet wet. I really do. I don't think we get the credit we deserve in this area. And I always say Miami's my home club, even though I never really lived in Miami, but they gave me my first headline at a major club, right? So they had the faith in me and showed me that I could do this. So shout out to Melissa, Justin,
100%.
Matt Coleman, everybody.
Robbie.
Robbie. Oh yeah, Robbie's great. They have really helped my career and helped me, so I want to, man, those guys are great. And I want to see what's going on, man. I like a good open mic every once in a while.
100%, man. Well, Rodney, we got September 3rd, Miami Improv.
November 25th, I did book Fort Lauderdale Improv.
There you go.
November 25th. That's a little bit out there. And then, like I said, laughingBadger.com. Follow me at, comedian Rodney Badger on Instagram, all that, if you want to keep up with everything. Same thing, Rodney Badger on Facebook. Told you, Facebook sells tickets, people.
Yes, sir.
Forget.
Yes, sir. Man, great to have you back in town, man. We're looking forward to working with you as much as possible now in the near future. And I know for all the bookers out there in South Florida who watch the show, I know you guys watch the show. You got to reach out to Rodney. Hit him up on his DMs. Hit him up on Facebook.
I need money. I'll give me a show. I'm funny sometimes, most of the time, all the time, whatever you need. But like I said, I'm not a guy who's like, I know there's a lot of people out there. I'm only a headliner. I'm only this. I will do 10 minutes open. I'll do 5 minutes. I don't care. I don't care. I want to make people laugh and I want to get out there. I do not care. I want money and I want to make people laugh. Book me. I'm not an ego guy. I just want to do it.
And I will say this, guys, you will not regret booking Rodney on any of your shows. I don't think I've ever seen you not do well on a show, especially the higher stakes shows. If you guys have something that a lot of people are going to come to, or it's going to be a big event, I think Rodney is the perfect guy for you out there in South Florida. If you haven't already worked with him, get him on a show, see what he can do, pick his brain about marketing, because he is one of the best when it comes to marketing and promoting in South Florida.
And that's one last thing. I know we're almost wrapping up, but to all those other comics out there, when you're new, find something that makes you useful outside of just comedy, right? Because we're all bomb. But if you bring a value, you sell tickets, you can do flyers, you can market, you can, whatever your niche is, don't just be a comic, because until you get to a certain point, that's you have to bring more to the table. There has to be something else you do, right? There has to be something you do. Don't be in the way. Don't put your ego aside. Don't worry about where you're at in the lineup. It doesn't matter to me. Like I said, I'm gonna make it so hard for the next person to follow me. So if you book me as an opener, and Dom from Have Nots will tell you this. One time everyone was fighting over who wanted to headline on a show, and he had promised me the headline. I said, bro, I don't care. Put me up first. Trust me. The comics didn't want to follow me. Some of them didn't want to come up after me, right? Like, then they got mad. Like, how am I following that, right? So I'm going to make it tough on you, but that's my job. And I want you to do the same for me. I want you to kill and make it harder for me. That means we're having a good show, right? So bring your best, do your best, but also bring something to the table. Help set up chairs, break down, be useful, help set up cameras. I mean, whatever you can do, but find something that makes you, a good green room hang, a good, person that can bring something else to the table, because comedy is only one part when you're first starting out. So find a niche of something else that you can do. I mean, you've seen me at the Improv. I help clean tables sometimes. Yeah. I know when it's a holiday, the servers want to go. I don't do it every show, but it's a holiday and people want to go home. I go out there and help clean tables.
For sure.
Why? Because they want to go home to their families. I want to go home too. I'll help you clean tables. I don't care. I'll do whatever it takes to help the venue. And remember also, the venue don't make money. Nothing else matters.
Yep.
The comedy don't matter how funny it is if they don't make money. The venue's care is making money. They make money, to them it was successful. Then you got to worry about making it funny so that you can do it again.
100%.
So
100%,
that's the last
man.
thing I got.
No, man, I really appreciate you coming on the show. We definitely will have you back on, even if you can't make it down here. We'll maybe get you in for a little Zoom interview to promote the actual show on September 3rd. And we'll definitely be letting you guys know right here on the comedy calendar before it happens, where you can get your tickets, how you can get your tickets, and how you can come out and support us, because that is going to be a fantastic show. Drew is really, really, really funny. And if you haven't seen him, myself, Art, or Rodney, it's going to be the perfect show for you guys to come out on a Wednesday night and enjoy, guys. That's September 3rd at the Miami Improv. And moving forward, we have another stalwart of the Miami comedy scene back in town. Really happy to have you back, my brother.
Yeah, I'm so happy. And thank you for all you do. And behind the scenes over here, my buddy RB. We're RBs together, baby. We bring
Shout
the
out
meats.
Rachel. Shout out Rachel.
Rachel, we RBing, baby.
Heck yeah.
That's my twin. Twin.
R and B. That's what you guys are. I love that. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning into this edition of SoFlo Comedy Insiders, guys. Until next week, keep laughing.